everyone, welcome to Cooking with Mrs. Carlson.
Hello everyone, welcome to Cooking with Miss Carlson. Today we're making, I have no idea, I can't remember what we're making.
Today we're making chicken enchiladas, a pretty simple enchilada recipe. It does seem like a really long list of ingredients, but most of these things you'll have already on hand. We are starting with 1 pound, 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of ground chicken breast. If you have shredded chicken, I've also made this with shredded chicken, but I have found that I prefer this recipe with ground chicken. So you're just gonna brown that up first. That should be your first step. You're also going to need about 1/2 cup of chopped onion. You'll need a couple of cups of shredded cheese, a tablespoon of parsley, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of salt and pepper, a can of tomato sauce. You'll need 1/2 cup of chicken broth. If you don't have chicken broth, 1/2 cup of water will work just fine. You need a tablespoon of chili powder, a clove of garlic, some tortillas, a can of enchilada sauce. I also sometimes add salsa to this too with my enchilada sauce. We'll probably add some salsa to that, and then we'll top it with a little bit more cheese. Okay, so this is kind of how this is gonna go down. We brown our chicken first, then you're going to add your onions, 1 cup of the shredded cheese, about 1 cup or so. Well, let's do this in here. About a cup. You'll need your parsley, tablespoon of parsley, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. There. Rachel, do you think you're gonna eat this today?
Probably not.
How come?
Probably not today.
Oh, you don't think you want it today, but you'd have it another day?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. What we're going to do is just stir this up right now until the cheese melts, and then we're going to add some of our sauce. All right, stir your chicken and cheese up. This is going to cook down your onions just a little bit too before you put them in a pan. My ground chicken did not have to be drained. It's pretty fat-free, but if you find that there's a lot of liquid or grease in your chicken when you're browning it, you want to drain that. You don't want that grease left in your dish.
Or you might get sick.
No, it just won't taste as well.
Oh, I thought it would get you sick.
Just a lot of extra fat that we don't need.
Why don't you need fat?
You just don't need that much. Okay, after your cheese is semi-melted, that's pretty good. We're going to add our can of tomato sauce. This is 15 ounces. This is another one of those recipes where you can kind of just use what you have and start dumping things in. It's one that you can't really mess up. We've got really good flavors going with this. We'll put our 1/2 cup of chicken broth and our tablespoon of chili powder. And our clove of garlic. And we're going to let that simmer just for a little bit before we put that into our shells. Garlic. And then really not a lot of steps left. Once we get this all incorporated here and let this simmer down just a little bit, we're going to stuff our tortilla shells, top it with our enchilada stuff, and put it in the oven. So this is an under 30-minute meal as well. This goes together really quickly and it tastes pretty delicious. About 1 minute. This is all pretty hot all the way through. Now I'm just going to take my enchilada sauce. I've done this with red or green enchilada sauce. Either one will work, whatever you have. I'm going to top these very nicely. Okay, so I'm going to put my enchilada sauce. I'm just going to put it about a cup of sauce. And then I'm going to add about a half of a cup or so of salsa, just for a little extra flavor.
You can never have too much flavor in
That's
something.
right. Like a little salsa.
Like a little bit.
Okay, so you're going to set that aside. Then we need a 9 by 13 inch pan, or actually I'm going to put it on a baking pan, I think. Let's do that instead. Just going to use a small baking pan. This is the same idea, same type of pan, and similar recipe to our wet burritos that a lot of people like. It's just made with beans and
We have made wet burritos before on this channel.
we did that pretty early on. So I'm just going to spray my pan lightly just to prevent some sticking. And then you're going to take your tortillas and then just fill them up. I would say there's probably about a half of a cup on here, but again, it depends on the size of your tortillas. These are pretty small ones. So if you have the bigger ones, you're not going to fill as many of these. Just kind of fill a little way down the middle, roll it up like you would a taco, and then just place it on your pan. It's okay if this seeps out along the outside because you're going to be covering this with sauce as well. So just continue filling your tortillas. I'll finish ours and then come right back here. Okay, so I got here, what did I get? 9 small tortillas filled. Nine tortillas filled. But again, it depends on the size of the tortillas that you're using. If you have extra meat and not enough tortillas, you could always put that extra meat right over top of this with the sauce too. I have done that before. And just make it work with what you have. Alright, so then you just want to spread this sauce out over all of your tortillas. Make sure that everything is covered. You also want to take your spoon and just kind of let the sauce sink down in between each of your tortillas too. Just to let it run all the way through so that that flavor of the sauce is going fully throughout each enchilada. Okay, then you're going to take about another cup of shredded cheese and sprinkle that over the top. And then we are just going to bake these for 20 minutes at 350 degrees. And that is all there is putting together chicken enchiladas. Alright, our enchiladas have been baking for 20 minutes at 350 degrees and they look like they are ready to come out. And they are done. Your cheese is all melted and browned up. And this is what they should look like. You'll just cut them, kind of where each of your tortillas are, and scoop them out. You could top this with sour cream, or you could eat it with some tortilla chips. Really, anything goes. Put some jalapenos on that if you want it even spicier. These enchiladas could be done with this ground chicken, shredded chicken. You could do pork, you could do beef. Really, the opportunities are endless with this dish. Thanks for joining us.